there. I did want to talk through some of my personal application, my personal connections with the articles and why I chose them. So, the first article that I mentioned is one that I found, and it's called For Reading Comprehension Knowledge is Power. And I've been thinking about this a lot ever since we first started talking about all of the teachers need to be teaching literacy. And I was like, yes, everyone needs to be teaching literacy. Our students have to know how to read and all of that sort of stuff. But I've also been really thinking because last year our science and history teachers, because they are not tested anymore, they were really trying to help us. But I think that they also felt a little bit like their subjects didn't matter anymore. And this year at my middle school, we are the kids are staying in one room, and I'm on a team of teachers, and we travel into each other's rooms. So I will be going into the history teacher's room. That's all of our room now. I will be going into the science teacher's room. That's all of our room now. I'll be going into the math teacher's room. So I was also just kind of thinking, how do they balance that? Because yes, maybe not every kid is going to be a scientist, but they still need to know some of that. And yes, every kid's not going to be a historian, but they still need to know some of that. And that kind of information can also draw in some of our reluctant readers and reluctant learners. So I thought, how does that connect? So I found this article, and it reminded me of a lot of the things that were brought up in the article that we read for the class, which was about literacy challenges for the 21st century. And honestly, I've just been really thinking about this. Since I've been reading and researching for this, I've already spoken with the science teacher and the history teacher that I'm going to be working with this year, and just talking with them about how ultimately, they get told, well, if you can Google the information, don't worry about it. The kids don't need to know it. It's not going to be you're not getting tested on it. But at the end of the day, the kids do need to have some historical context. When we go through the diary of Anne Frank, if they don't know anything about World War II or the Holocaust, that makes my job as a literacy teacher a lot harder. And they were talking about maybe doing a novel study, like an ecological book in science. If the kids don't know anything about preserving the environment or anything about ecological studies, how are they going to read the book about that? So I have been pretty passionate about this since I started reading about it, and I know in my own classroom I'm going to specifically tie back to some of that information and teach the kids. Obviously we teach the kids background information and important vocabulary before we read something with them. But I'm going to be a lot more intentional about that, and also just empowering the more informational subjects like science and history, and telling them their information does matter and it helps our students to learn. Thank you.